Att- Okay, I'm sorry. I always forget this, so that's why it's a thing now. I'm gonna get started. Read the guidelines, followed by attendance and introductions. So good evening, everyone. I am Laurisa Acosta, Chair of the Education, Youth, and Libraries Committee. This is Bronx Community Board 7's Education, Youth, and Libraries Committee. The agenda is as follows. Where is my agenda? We have, we'll see if we have updates from DOE, New York Public Libraries, CEC District 10, and DYCD. But we do have a presentation from the DOE Office of Pupil Transportation. EDC is here for a Kingsbridge Armory presentation, and we're supposed to have Coalition for the Homeless, Williamsbridge Oval Center, and I'm assuming Literacy Inc. I think I saw Gladys on the agenda, on the attendance. But that is the agenda. On February 19th, 2023, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 339, extending the state of emergency through March 21st, 2023. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the Video Conferencing Law, Chapter 56, Part WW. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recording will be made available on our website. If you are calling into the meeting on the conference, controls while joining from landline or cell go as follows. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6 to mute or unmute yourself, and *9 to virtually raise your hand. How we will run this meeting is as follows. Here's the code of conduct for meetings. Penalties and actions. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee. For a ban of the participant, the amount of time to be objectively determined by the above mentioned committees. In the event of repeated, does that mean no? Of repeated behavior. Okay. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities shall be summoned. Everyone besides the speaker/presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raise hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the committee who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation and after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions by pressing the raise hand button on their screen. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussions after each presentation/agenda item and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions relating to the meeting software or our process, please use the chat function or raise hand function now or contact the deputy district manager. Okay, that's that. I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Monday evening. Happy March, happy Women's History Month. We do have a jam-packed agenda. I have a couple of announcements to make. One second. First is that the 2023 New York Yankees Youth Leadership Scholarship is here. So I will ask committee members and all of those who are in attendance to share with your network. We'll have a flyer out soon, but basically the basic requirements are that they must live within Bronx Community Board 7 district lines. And they ask for a, what do you call that? A transcript and a resume, which includes their volunteering or extracurricular activities, a reference letter from a school or volunteer group or an organization that shares that they have performed over 50 hours of leadership or volunteer work. And that's pretty much the gist of it. We're aiming for high school seniors, and you can contact Carla. She will put her email in the chat for more information. Like I said, we will be able to, we'll follow up with more information shortly, including a little flyer with all of the FYIs. Also, on March 11th, Lehman College will host an educational college fair. So look out for that flyer from the board's messaging service, I guess, soon. And lots of opportunities, not only for high school students, but also adult learners and English language learners. Second. Okay. So in the interest of time, because our guest is not able to join us for the entire night, we will have Brendan Bannon of the Office of Pupil Transportation. Actually, I'm so sorry. I have to take attendance real quick. So let me share my screen and take attendance, but Brendan, I saw you unmute. I guess you're ready, right? All right, cool. Let me share my screen. Okay. So attendance, Laurisa Costa, present. Janelle Robinson.
Present.
Hello, Janelle. Tasha Andrews.
Tasha Andrews, present.
Thank you, Tasha. Yenny Medina. Adeline Walker Santiago.
Present.
Present. Okay, hello and thank you. We have a quorum, and let's get into it. Brandon, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Loris. Once again, this is Brendan Bannon. I am on the communications team for the New York City Department of Education's Office of Pupil Transportation. I am also here with two of my colleagues, Ms. Lanika Parker-Moore, as well as Mr. Micah Peterson. Sorry, Micah. Larissa, it's saying I can't share my screen, host disabled participant screen sharing. Could you enable that or give me?
Yes, give us 1 second.
Okay, looks like I am able to. And can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, great. So want to begin with going to the start of this presentation, not the end. But I wanted to begin with thanking you all for the opportunity to join your meeting and give some information about what we do at the Office of Pupil Transportation, our scope, and as well as provide an opportunity to create some dialogue and have some questions and answers afterwards. So let's try this from the beginning again. You're seeing the contact slide, right?
Correct.
Okay, we're going to do it this way then. Okay, at the Office of Pupil Transportation, our mission statement, we are governed by Chancellor's Regulation A801. The DOV and through the Office of Pupil Transportation provide transportation to all eligible New York City students in public, charter, and non-public schools. In partnership with the MTA and our school age and preschool bus companies, it's our mission to ensure safe and reliable transportation to and from school. Let's see if I do this from current slide. No, it's still going to the end. So we have to go through this in the PowerPoint. Sorry about this. As for the scope of student transportation in New York City,
Brandon,
yes,
real quick, just are you still intending to share your screen?
yes. Is it not
Oh,
sharing my screen
yeah, we
anymore?
can't see your screen right now.
Apologies. Is it back up now? All right, rough start. Getting back to it. The scope of student transportation in New York City. We have the largest ground fleet in North America with about 11,000 vehicles. For comparison, that's about twice the size of the MTA. We provide bus service to public, charter, and non-public schools. And students receive busing to schools in New York City's 5 boroughs, as well as schools in New York State, in Westchester County and Long Island, New Jersey, as well as some schools in Connecticut. With regard to general or with citywide statistics, this slide will give us a snapshot of what that looks like in New York City. When it comes to school bus routes, curb to school, we have a little over 5,600 routes, and stop to school is 2,257 routes. In regards to students on those, curb to school 56,800 and stop to school 71,805. Breaking that out across public schools, we have 2,817 schools serviced, charter schools 459, non-public schools 1,199. Now, all of that service is done across 70 or more contracted school bus vendors. And our additional form of transportation via Metro cards, we issue 772,000 Metro cards, as well as a little over 37,000 for parent and program exception Metro cards. Now to look a little bit into your geographical location. When it comes to District 10, we have 2,358 students traveling on the curb to school routes. And then out of that, we have, based on our calculation for Community Board 7, which was the 4 locations, which I'll show on the next slide, 921 students from CB7 on curb to school routes. And on stop to school routes in D10, 2,026. And 241 from CB7 locations. Now to break that out, we have that on this next slide. So Bedford Park, Fordham North, of that 921 is 205 students. Kingsbridge Heights, 160. Norwood, 313. Van Cortlandt Village, 243. And when it comes to stop to school routes, Bedford Park, Fordham, 26. Kingsbridge Heights, 59. Norwood, 138. And Van Cortlandt Village, 18. Now, something we have been working very diligently on and are excited for the future is our VIA for Schools project, which involves GPS and being able to identify where the student's bus is in relation to its route getting to home. The VIA project will modernize our transportation system. It will provide families with essential information and peace of mind when their children are utilizing our transportation, as well as create lines of communications between schools, bus companies, and families. We are working on this effort in partnership with VIA, who's a leader in transportation technology. You might have seen the VIA vehicles around New York City. This project focuses on 5 areas designated to provide greater transparency into student transportation and more efficient busing operations. Those pillars are routing, fleet or the vehicles, automated vehicle location, ridership, which would be verifying when and where a student boards and exits the school bus, and real-time communications such as push notifications.
Go to the next slide, Brendan. We don't see that one. There you go.
Yep. So VIA for Schools, it's undergoing its full rollout in all schools in Community District 26 presently. And then once that's successfully deployed and operations in that district are deemed successful, the program will be expanded to include other districts and schools as quickly as possible. We will work with our superintendents to determine those details and timeline and getting any notifications that need to get out to the community. In regards to contact information and potential escalation channels, for OPT has a dedicated transportation liaison for all public schools per district. For District 10, that is Daisy Gonzalez, and her email is on the screen. For non-public and charter schools in District 10, that's Paige Donaldson. OPT's Deputy Senior Executive Director is John Benson, and he likes to make himself available. On the right-hand side, we have a couple links to some useful web pages. Transportation Overview gives a general summary of all that we offer at OPT, rights that students have, contact information, phone numbers for bus vendors. What's new with student transportation is where we post recent activities and communications that we would like to get out to the community. Our support hub is another resource and what we have been developing to accommodate things such as, reimbursement requests or reporting issues. And we will continue to expand and utilize that platform with the envision of expanding it so far in the future as to being able to make a complaint through that platform about transportation services. And if you do happen to have something like that or have questions, there's our customer service hotline, which is our primary way of getting in contact with someone at OPT or making a complaint. That phone number is 718-392-8855. And what I'd like to do now is turn it over to, like I said, we have Lanika here as well. And she's available to take questions and answers and dive into anything deeper that might be of concern or of interest from anyone on this call. Loris, sorry. I'll turn that back over to you for a moment.
Yes. Yes. So if you can just, sorry about that. How can I stop you from sharing your screen?
I paused it. Oh, wait, stop share.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so thank you for your presentation. It was cool to see how many students that are directly from our district that are served by your office. Obviously, transportation is an essential need for many of our students. I'm curious to know, so we've had members or people show up to our meetings and have complaints or just concerns about their busing situation. So is there, I guess my first question is what is the accountability for a route that a parent that has a child who has constantly been late because of the bus situation? Is there an accountability system? Because I know you guys oversee hiring and all of that stuff. Like, what is the procedure for someone who complains? Like, is there, I don't know, can you help me with that?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me just see if I can put my screen on. Okay, so basically, when it comes to accountability or if there's a complaint, obviously it could be for a myriad of reasons why a bus is late. It could be inclement weather, it could be stuck behind a garbage truck, traffic, but for consistent issues that just don't go by the day to day, we have the customer service number that Brandon provided on the last screen. That allows a parent to call in an incident and receive a complaint number. They also should be reporting it to their school. The schools also have access to this call recording system to make sure that the complaints are logged in successfully, and then it goes to the relevant department to look into the issue. Now, if for some reason it seems as if it's not being addressed timely, this is when the contacts that again you saw on the last screen are transportation liaisons who are there to support the schools, and they can provide that incident number. And typically we will look to assess, what's the reason for it being late. It could be because there's too many students on the route. It could be because, one student may be, having some issues getting on the bus, and now we have to, work with the school or somehow make sure that that bus is running on time. So there's a myriad of reasons why it could be. If it's something that is egregious and it has something to do with the way the bus is routed or something with the vendor, we do issue violations to the vendors for continuous lateness. And what that means is that contractually they're not meeting their obligations. And so then there's monetary damages or liquidated damages that are assessed. So that's pretty much in terms of what the accountability is. And then we would also, that same transportation liaison would work with the router or the transportation support team to make sure that there's changes to the route. And we've done that consistently throughout the school year as students move in and out of the district.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm gonna ask one more question before I let committee members ask. You guys mentioned modernization of the system with GPS and all of that stuff. Is there an updating system to let parents know if their child might be late or if the bus might be late for pickups or drop-offs? Is there a system to give a heads up in addition to having a GPS system?
So in short, what we have in place now, yes, it's a bus delay report that is accessible on OPT's website. This is a self-reporting application that the vendors are contractually obligated to utilize. However, the first point of reference in terms of a late bus should be that actual driver and the attendant. The point being with that is as families and drivers, they foster that relationship. They should be calling them and say, hey, I'm going to be late. It's going to be 5 minutes. Whatever the story is, they should be receiving a call from the vendor. In cases when that does happen, and then that's when, violations and monetary damages are assessed.
All right, thank you. Adeline, I see you have a question. Go ahead.
Sorry. I wanted to ask if there's a consideration to have bus matrons in general ed buses as well, because there's a lot of children on a bus with one driver, and that's very dangerous. And I was wondering if that's a possibility to do that in the future.
So
And
go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
and if so, when can that happen? Because we used to have those a long time ago, and then they cut that. And I think that's a necessity. And it's necessary for drivers driving and the children are having an issue with each other. Who's going to handle it on the bus if we don't have matrons?
So attendants, formerly known as matrons, are mandated to ride on curb to school busing. That's the special education busing. But not on stop to school busing. So contractually, the vendors don't provide them. However, we do have a process in place where if a school believes that their students could benefit from such a support system. There is a process where if there's a volunteer from the school or someone that they would like to designate to ride the bus, they will go through all the normal fingerprinting processes similar to an attendant, and we will allow and make the accommodations. There's several schools across the city who utilize that option. So if that is a concern, definitely speak with your school and they can get in touch with us in regards to that process.
So I know about that process, and I know that some schools have paid people to do that because it's a big thing to get fingerprinted and all that, and it comes out of pocket. But I was just wondering if there's any consideration to have matrons permanently on general ed buses. I'm pretty sure they had that way in the past, and I don't know why they've cut that, because I think that's a big issue. You have bullying on the buses, you have issues with kids not getting along, fighting. What does the driver do in that, what can they do? They have to pay attention to where they're going. So I understand this process. I know it very well. But I was wondering if your department can look into that, having it offered to all schools, all children, all general ed school buses. And I have a second question. Huh?
No, I'll just answer that. So we can take that back to the team, but just keep in mind, this is based on the New York City Department of Education's contractual agreement with the vendors, and those changes are obviously, as you can imagine, not easy to make and not steadfast as we would like, but we are going to be entering some new negotiations with busing as a whole with our vendors in the next year or so. So that's something we could definitely bring back to the team. Thank you for that.
I appreciate that. I have another question. When will this be implemented in all the districts? Sorry, I have a puppy. When will this be implemented in all the districts, the GPS system? I think that's fabulous that you're doing that. When do you think it'll be rolled out? I know you said you're doing District 26 first. So do you have an idea or a projected date that it'll actually get started?
Not just yet. We're moving into, for full transparency, we're moving into D75 first, another district with them very soon. So that date is TBD. That's our largest busing population. So we're looking to pilot the program with them as well. And then once we have a full rollout, then we'll do a mass communication and information sent out about that. But we're very interested in getting that started up as well, because we want to have full transparency for our families about where their bus is in real time.
But do you have a year that you think this will happen? Will this happen this year, next year, projected date?
We don't have a specific date, but I definitely can bring that question back once again, and I'll follow up. So anything you guys let me know, then I'll definitely loop back within a day or so with an answer.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Can I have
real
your name?
quick- oh,
Because
I'm sorry, Adam.
Yeah, I'll put my name in the chat and my email address. If any of you need to reach out to me directly, I manage all the escalations and the communications with Brandon and Micah. So feel free to punt those concerns to me. I'll drop it in the chat.
Perfect. Yeah, because we would
Thank
love to hear the follow-ups on those items that you would follow up on. Is there anyone on the committee, anyone else who would like to ask any questions? Okay, I'll open it up to the floor. Chad, I see you have a, whoops. No, okay. Chad, I see you have your hand up.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad that OPT was able to present to us today and to also familiarize us with other members who may not know what OPT is. I have two questions. As a parent, one of my children does not go to school in the district. So if a parent were to typically reach out to someone and they had questions or a need to escalate a matter, who would they reach out to if the child's school is outside the district?
So the way that our organization is structured is going to be based on the home district. So that's, the school district that your child goes to. So like Chad, when we spoke the other day about the issue, Diane Beateram, she's over the transit team, and then we have other people who work in your district that can support. And so I think the first thing we need to do, we need to make sure the school is aware, like the school needs to know this is a problem, because if it's a problem for one student, is most likely maybe a problem for the other students on the route. So we want to make sure the school has full transparency. Two, definitely need to make sure that the complaint is logged in, because this is how we hold our vendors accountable. You can email me, Chad, you have my email, doesn't, that I have no issue with that, but I want to make sure that we're following at least that process, because when they are not following their contractual obligations, again, this is how they get dinged, this is how we hold them to the fire. So once that is done, you have your incident number, perfect. You can reach out to your transportation liaison with the school, and they will work with the persons behind the scenes to make sure that the routing is done. If there's something, again, that's very egregious, then that's when I usually get involved. Is something that's escalated beyond. So that's just our escalation protocol. We want to, certain things can be handled very easily. You call a complaint at the school level, done. Certain things, they require a little bit more care, and then that's where it would come to my team typically. So we just want to make sure that that's followed. First, contact the school, notify OPT, and get your incident number, and then feel free to reach out to your transportation liaison for support.
All right, thank you. So my next question, so in other words, any parent whose child is out of district, you guys would be able to at least forward to the right district at the very least, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So my second question, putting on my hat as a PA president of a school for the other person who I call Princess, I find that a lot of parents and even some of the folks in the circle are not really adept with the process on how OPT works intricately, what numbers to give, how to report, what happens when a report doesn't get followed. And I'm wondering, what kind of reaches are OPT opening to do when it comes to reaching out to the schools, the PAs, and having those inner talks with the parents so that they can become more involved and more knowledgeable?
That's a good question. So the transportation liaisons who are here at OPT, they manage their respective school districts across the city. And so oftentimes they do host like individual trainings, whether it's for the pupil accounting secretary at the school or parent coordinator, whomever is involved in handling busing, or even if it's MetroCards to use certain screens and applications. When it comes to parents, obviously we rely on the schools who know the parents best to communicate that information. However, we're always open to having a forum where like this, or otherwise where we need to step in and hold something at a higher level. So if there's ever a need in any of those districts, please reach out to us and we'll coordinate something for you.
Okay, because I think that would be a big opportunity for the parents to be more involved. And I'll even say this, I would love for you guys to come to my daughter's school and do a presentation next month. So I'll reach out offline.
Yeah, send me an email, chat.
Yeah, and I think that'll be helpful for anyone who's part of a parent association or a parent-teacher association, even the guardian of a child. That conversation will get others more involved, especially when English is not the primary language. We need to empower the parents.
I agree. We had a lot of those pre-COVID. We were doing those, every other day, multiple times a week. Things have slowed up a bit, but again, when there's a need, we'll be there. So just let us know.
Got you. And thank you. Thank you again for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that, Chad. Letitia, I see you have your hand up.
Hi, I am currently also a PTA president, so I will definitely be sending you an email too, because we do have some busing issues at our school as well. But one of my personal questions is that I will be going back to work soon. I don't know when. I'm still looking for another job, but I have put in a request early to get my kids rerouted, which is just a couple of blocks away from the pickup address, and it's within the area. It's not like they go into Neck or anything. The bus driver said that they could do it. They just need the permission of OPT to do so. And he said it's not far from his last or second to last drop off, which is over I think it's 0.6 miles, which is exactly where the babysitter is at. Because my thing is, I don't want to have to worry about this once I go to work. They said that the router refused to do it. He just refused to do it. It's no issue about that it's going to stop the other kids from getting home on time or anything. There's no such issues or anything. But the router is just refusing. I mean, I done went and spoke to my liaison. I spoke to someone at OPT. I spoke to some other person. I even went on the meeting that they had in regards to the busing situation, maybe about 2 months ago. And I still haven't gotten no resolved. And I'm like, okay, so now I was forced to put them back to my address because the bus that they put them on, it was going to get them home 2.5 hours later. They both have ADHD. One has sensory. There was going to be high school children on the bus. And she told me her third pickup was at 3:30. The kids get out at 2. So that was just not going to work for me at all. So now I'm back. Like I said, I put them back to the original address, which is, the pickup and the drop off. I have to find either another babysitter to send them to. We're talking about a babysitter I have for over 30 years that I trust them with, to pay more money to get them to get dropped off somewhere else so that when I do work, that there's at least someone at the pickup address for them to be, to be watched. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. If the bus driver is telling me that he couldn't do it, then I would have to just figure out a way. They're telling me it's not a problem. It's right. I mean, literally, I think it's like 5 blocks down, 1 block off the Grand Concourse, which is literally, literally down the block from the house. And I don't understand why I was getting just this big hassle with, getting this switch.
So just a quick follow-up question. Are you looking to change the AM pickup?
No, not at all. No,
This is a
nope.
PM.
This is
So
a PM, and it would be
coming-
the same bus driver. He said he could do it.
So picking up at your house in the morning and then in the afternoon going somewhere else, correct?
Going somewhere else, which is a couple of blocks away, in the same zip code and everything.
This is curb to school?
This is who?
This is curb to school?
Yeah, curb to school, right?
Curb
Curb to school.
to
Mhm.
school. Okay, did you apply for an alternate PM drop? Like a
I
form?
did, and they
Okay.
said that he wasn't going to do the change. They said
Okay.
that he would not do the change. That the router wouldn't do the change.
What's your child's name? And I mean, you can email me later, but just so I know when you email.
It's 2 of them. It's Jaden and Justin McCleary.
I don't think that one has come to me, but definitely let me take a look at it. The email is in the chat. Send me the full names and ID numbers and I'll check it out. If you have any emails from others about this, feel free to forward those as well. One thing I will say is, though, even though sometimes things look like, oh, this is so close, it's not a big deal. The driver is really not, he doesn't know all the kids' kind of special circumstances or special needs, right? So going 0.5 miles away, maybe another student on that route has limited time, and that extra 10 minutes will violate someone's IP. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm not saying that that's the case at all. I'm just giving an example how this is why OPT has to make the decision, not the driver, because there could be special circumstances that each individual student has that we have to make sure that we protect, and their privacy obviously as well, but make sure that we service all of our kids. So give me the information and I'll give you a definite answer and see what we can do. I'll try to help you out.
Okay, we are going to move the agenda forward, but I do want to thank the Office of Pupil Transportation. Thank you for presenting and answering questions. We do have their information in the chat, so please do not hesitate to reach out to them. Lenika? Lenika, I'm sorry. So
okay.
I do appreciate you answering questions. I would love to get a follow-up. And to anyone who's in attendance, if there's any like concerns, let me know. We can try to get these offices to present and speak to the source themselves. So,
Mr. Chair, before you move on, hi, it's Greg Faulkner.
Hello.
And I wanted to catch this, and I apologize for being late because, as you know, I'm the vice chair of the panel for education policy, and I am really concerned about the number of complaints that come in regarding transportation. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for making this a topic at one of your meetings. And I'd ask you to, please keep me in the loop on this.
Absolutely, we'll be following up. And Greg, I can also share with you, I can share not only the minutes, but the recording once it's up. I'll make sure to get that over to you.
Yeah, please do. I mean, this is, especially what I'm concerned about is when I hear that their children, that it's listed on their individual educational plan that they should be on the bus for limited time. And I'm getting complaints from parents that they are on the bus for extended periods of time that kind of violate the rules that are in that. And I know the DOE is working hard, and I know, so I just think we need to figure out, and I appreciate the folks here from DOE coming out to the community. I think that's really, very important. I appreciate that. But I really think this is something that has got to get to the top of the agenda and figuring out how we're going to address this. So again, thank you for making this a topic for tonight.
Greg, and any specifics, feel free to send them my way.
Sure, I will. And you guys have been good. I mean, this is a tough one to kind of handle. I understand that. So I appreciate the work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I would not have been able to, well, we would not have been able to have this office here if it wasn't for parents like Chad bringing it to our attention and also just connecting them with myself. So thank you. So moving the agenda forward.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Do
you.
we have anybody from the DOE here outside of the Office of Pupil Transportation? No, do we have anyone from our New York Public Libraries here? Okay, anyone from CEC District 10? Okay, that leaves us to EDC, Kingsbridge Armory.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Fernando. And just a quick tidbit. Actually, just do your thing.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for having us today. We're super excited, always excited to come out to CB7. Let me just verify that I can share my screen. One second. Okay. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Here we go. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So my name is Fernando Ortiz. I am an assistant vice president for government and community relations at EDC, which stands for New York City Economic Development Corporation. I oversee the Upper Manhattan and Bronx borough portfolio, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Nate and Haya. I don't know if you guys want to wave or introduce yourselves quickly. Nate and Haya are from our planning team. And just to give you a little bit of context before I dive into the presentation, EDC is leading the Together for Kingsbridge or Juntos para Kingsbridge Community Vision Plan process, which is to create a vision plan for the Kingsbridge Armory. So with that, I'll dive into the presentation, which I'll go a little bit more about the process. So the Kingsbridge Armory community engagement process, as I mentioned, is being led by EDC. We have been engaging with residents, workers, community groups, merchants, folks from all aspects of the Kingsbridge community with the goal to create a vision for the Armory's future. In terms of tangible products, the goal is to release a vision document in the spring of 2023. We're aiming for some time in May, early June. The vision document will be released. And here's an image of our last public workshop, which I'll get into. So in order to help us with this process, we convened a community working group, which is co-chaired by Councilmember Pierina Sanchez and Sandra Lobo from the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition, which I'm sure you are all very familiar with, both of our co-chairs. We also have representation from the local elected officials, from the borough president's office to the Congress member's office and state representatives as well, and a diverse community stakeholders. We have community groups like Kingsbridge Heights Community Center. We have labor representation. We have merchant and small business representation, faith-based, health, academic, and economic development. In total, we have about 25 members. We convene once a month, and really just, they've helped us in terms of how to engage, where to engage, what this process should look like, who we should be engaging with, how, etc. Just to touch a little bit about the history of the Armory. The Armory was constructed in 1917, or finished construction in 1917. And from 1917 till 1994, it operated as an armory. In 1996, its ownership was passed on over to the city, and since then has been vacant since 1996. Throughout its history, though, it has been used for temporary uses such as shows, concerts, exhibitions, filming. Some of the more famous filming that have occurred was the I Am Legend film by Will Smith, or with Will Smith. Was filmed inside the Armory, and recently this summer, the Amazon show The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was shooting inside the Armory. It is a landmark building on city, state, and federal landmark status, so it cannot be demolished, and we cannot blast walls and things off of the exterior. It is the largest armory in New York City and reputedly in the world, and it's right here in Kingsbridge. So you all might be familiar with many armories across New York City, such as the Fort Washington Armory, or the Fifth Avenue Armory, or the Bedford Union Armory in Brooklyn. Kingsbridge is the largest, sometimes 2 or even 3 times larger than some of the other armories. And many of you might be familiar with previous redevelopment attempts. There has been 2. One was in 2006, which was the related proposal for a shopping mall, which did not pass the city's land use review process, known as ULURP. And then in 2012, there was the Kingsbridge National Ice Center proposal for the 9 ice skating rinks, which did pass the city's ULURP process, or land use review process. But however, the project team was not able to secure the financing needed to move the project forward, which led to a series of litigation, only which were settled in March of 2022. So that led us to where we are now, which was deciding to do a community vision plan process to really understand the values and priorities of the community for the future of the Kingsbridge Armory. So in the next couple slides, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the Armory's existing conditions and an overview. As I mentioned, it has been vacant for close to 30 years and has significant, costs and significant repairs needed in terms of, restoration and just bringing the building up to code. So this is the interior of the Armory, what is known as the drill hall, which is the big open space. It is 180,000 square feet and 115 feet tall at its highest point. My colleague Nate likes to say that we can stick an 11-story building inside the Armory. So a lot of the buildings that are across the street fit inside the Armory. So that just shows you how this is the area that we call the drill hall, and just to show you how big of a space in terms of scale this Armory is. To give you a little bit more a scale comparison, the drill hall can fit 6 football fields, 64 Olympic pools, almost 4 New York City blocks, 104 movie theaters, 88 bowling alleys, just in the drill hall alone. So it is a huge, huge space. And then in terms of the exterior and the roof, as you can see, there are significant repairs needed to the doors, the windows, the bricks, access, and especially for folks with disabilities, ADA accessibility is needed for the Armory, and the roof probably needs to be replaced, as it is close to 20 years old at this point from when it was last replaced. As we look at the sub-levels or the cellars, there is improvements that are needed in terms of lighting and ventilation, walls and floors and roofs. There's no elevators, and stairs need to be upgraded and put to code. And there is a flooding issue in the Kingsbridge Armory due to its adjacency to the Jerome Avenue Reservoir and Tibbetts Brook underneath the lower levels of the Armory's cellar flood significantly. Sometimes we have to continue, pump water on a daily basis out of the Armory. So that is an issue that needs to be resolved. And going just further down into the sub levels, this was used as an armory. So military folks had all kinds of uses down here: basketball courts, lecture halls, shooting ranges, all of those, which have been abandoned for several decades at this point. And the building just in general needs upgrades to lighting, ventilation, floor, walls, roof, just a lot of full gut renovation in the interior, which is very costly. And then as we look again at the drill hall, we recently just completed asbestos remediation in the drill hall. So the drill hall is accessible, and I'll get to that at the end of the presentation, but there's still some remediation that needs to happen within the armory in general. In the drill hall specifically, you are all probably familiar with the big window that you can kind of see here in the image. Those windows need to be replaced. Floors, walls, structures all need to be touched up. So this is just to give you a general sense again of the conditions of the armory. And this part of the armory that's kind of highlighted here in yellow, in the dashed yellow lines, known as the head house, is the part that faces West Kingsbridge Road, which has the two towers. And kind of the main entrance to the armory. This is the part that housed the military's, kind of office spaces. So it has a lot of decorative features in the interior. And that also needs to be heavily remediated for asbestos and lead. Wall, ceiling needs to be, floors need to be redone, lighting, ventilation, just all across the board. The armory needs to be repaired and restored. So just to give you all a snapshot in terms of the engagement that we've been doing, we started this process in November of last year, 2022. As I mentioned, kind of led by our co-chairs, Councilmember Pirina Sanchez and Sandra Lobo from the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition. And since we've launched, we have been to almost all of Community Board 7's land use meetings. We go on a monthly basis, and we've gone to other committees as well in CB7 and in CB8 as requested. We have led, we have had 5 community working group meetings since we launched in November. We have had at this point over 12 small group discussions. We've probably had close to 20 where we've met with different sectors. So we had a small group conversation with arts and culture stakeholder. We had a small group conversation with youth. We had a small group conversation with health. We had a small group conversation with merchants. So different sectors, kind of more targeted audiences to making sure that we're reaching diverse stakeholders. We've had 2 online events, an info meeting and a panel conversation on adaptive reuse. And we've had over 250 folks attend virtually those events. We've also had 2 public workshops, one in November and one in January. And we've had over 400 people attend those events. We've had really great turnout at our public events and our online events. And we have an online survey where we've received close to 600 community survey responses at this point. So this is just to give you a snapshot. We've done, a lot of engagement, more than that is captured here. And we've probably reached at this point over 1,000 community residents. And we've really heard a lot of great things. And so just to get a little bit into what we've heard, right? What have we heard so far in the process in terms of the future of the armory? We asked people what they thought were the strengths of the Bronx as we're looking at the redevelopment of the armory. And these are some of the things that we heard. I won't read the whole list, but 2 that I love to highlight is its people, right? People, the community in Kingsbridge identified its people as one of the strengths, and local organizing. And as we know, folks like the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition and others have been organizing around the Kingsbridge Armory for nearly 3 decades. So that is a core strength of this neighborhood and the Bronx in general. In terms of values, we really wanted the redevelopment to be grounded in values that the community has identified. These were some of the values that we heard. Again, I won't read them all. I'll kind of leave this on the screen for a little bit, but some of the ones that we've heard throughout the process have been the notion of collective economy, educational and vocational progress, and resiliency and creativity and organizing. So these are some of the values that we've heard, and these are the ones that that stood out and that we repeatedly heard throughout the process. And then in terms of uses, programmatic, or just the future of the Armory, these are some of the themes that have been reoccurring since day one. Recreation space and youth programmings, we've really have heard the need to prioritize youth and their future and opportunities for youth inside of the Armory in terms of its use and programming, both through education programming, but also recreational space. We've heard about the need for a space for youth to congregate, to have internship opportunities, to be able to stay off the streets, to have a safe place to hang out and be within their community, and the need for more recreational space. So that has been probably the number one thing that we've heard from community folks across all different sectors, from healthcare to youth to schools. Everyone has kind of prioritized youth. Another really strong theme that we've heard is a place for jobs and economic development, really seeing the Armory as being an economic engine for not just Kingsbridge, but for the Bronx in terms of bringing good paying jobs and career pathways to the neighborhood and the borough. A space for training the community for careers and good jobs. So, not only for folks to be able to work inside the Armory, but for the training for those careers to also happen within the Armory. We've heard about a space for events and collaboration. Someone once said a space to host graduations, or whether it's convention centers. As we've been leading this process, we've had difficulty finding space that can accommodate more than 250 people, which has been the turnouts that we've been having. And so I think I identify with this need for event space in the Bronx in general, right? We see across the borough a need for event and gathering space. So that has been something that we've heard throughout this process as well. And another one that we've heard very strongly is a destination that celebrates the Bronx history and culture, right? Both the Armory's history, the borough's history, whether it's music, whether it's culture, whether it's food, creating a space that is a destination for Bronxites and for everyone across the city and the tri-state region, right? A kind of a destination, a tourist attraction that brings folks to our neighborhood. So with that, I'll take a pause, and kind of two quick things that I want to mention that aren't in the deck is one, our next public workshop is March 18th. It will be at Lehman College, and I can share the flyer later this week. We're finalizing the flyer. We finally just confirmed the location officially today. So I will send out the flyer probably tomorrow. But that is March 18th from 12 to 3 or 12 to 4, I believe. Let me see. I think we actually know. I thought I had added it to the slide, but March 18th is our next public workshop, and I'll share the flyer for that. So we would love to have you all come out, and we are also hosting community tours. Leoris, I just sent you an email with the flyer. We are hosting tours Fridays, Saturdays, and some Sundays throughout the month of March. The first tour starting this Friday from 11 to 2. You can book a 30-minute time slot. So we want to get as many folks inside the drill hall to actually see and kind of experience the Armory for themselves throughout the month of March. So those are kind of two things that we encourage folks to come out to. And I'll quickly—
Fernando, can I jump in real quick?
Yes. Oh, Sam, I didn't know you were on. Welcome, Sam.
Hey. Hey, everybody, and thank you, Fernando and EDC, for being on this Monday evening. Councilmember Sanchez is really excited and proud to have the Kingsbridge Armory available for tours. And, it would be great, as, being on the education committee tonight, if you get your parents, your parent coordinators, your students involved. It is a massive space, and I think being able to see it in real time and in real life gives you a better and deeper understanding of just how much community space we can put into this Armory. And with the $5 million she invested in the Armory for the remediation. We just really hope that everyone takes advantage of the opportunity, and we invite you all to join.
Thank you, Sam, for that. I quickly just want to share with folks our website, kingsbridgetogether.com. Can everyone see my screen? This is the website. I'll drop the link in the chat, but this is where you can kind of read about more in depth about our process. You can download any presentations. You can take our online survey, but you can also see our upcoming events and register. So here is where you can register for the tours, as well as other events that we have planned, such as the public workshop, but also on the 16th, we have a presentation on how development projects are financed. So I'll share the link to the website on the chat. Any questions?
Awesome.
Comment.
Fernando, EDC, thank you guys for a thorough presentation. It's always exciting to see the little mock-ups, like visualizing the space in the future. Thank you for attending our committee. I'm a firm believer that the Armory should have elements that definitely incorporate education and the youth. But before I ask any questions, I'll open it up to our committee members first. So Adeline, I see you have your hand up.
Hi, my name is Adeline, and I was asking the public workshop you're having at Lehman on the 18th. Is that an opportunity for the public to sign up to talk for 1 or 2 minutes and share what they would want to see in the Armory?
Yes, so our public workshops are opportunities for anyone, whether you've attended previous workshops or not, to come out and learn about the process, to learn more in depth about, the vision plan, and we have some fun activities planned out. So whether you've attended previous workshops or not, but this is a space for you to come out and not only learn about the Armory and the redevelopment process, but also share your vision and ideas. So we welcome everyone from the community, join us, bring your kids, bring your grandma, bring your uncles, your cousins, your neighbor, come out and share your thoughts on the redevelopment.
Thank you.
Awesome. A couple questions. So I know that phase 4, which is like next steps and whatever else that might entail, is in the spring. What necessarily happens after that, and how will the people be able to be involved then? Because I know right now it's a lot of community engagement, getting to understand us and sharing some ideological ideas. What's next? Like, what can we really get into during that phase?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So as I mentioned, we're continuing to do community engagement until the end of this month, early April. And then in April, we really kind of put pens down and start to analyze all of the engagement, collect all the surveys, and start to draft the vision document, which will be a summary of everything that we've heard, from themes to values to goals. And that vision document we plan to release in the spring. That will be kind of the foundation, or not kind of, that will be the foundation of what is called a request for proposals, an RFP, which is what we put out in order to collect proposal or development ideas. That RFP is planned to be released in the summer, and the vision document will be attached to that RFP. The idea is that any development group or groups of folks looking to present a proposal will need to or have read the vision plan document, and have, will be able, whoever kind of checks the most boxes ideally would be and has the most financially feasible, right? Because we want to learn from past mistakes. The ice skating rink proposal passed Euler but failed to have the needed financing. So we don't want to make that mistake again. We're looking for both financially feasible projects, but also projects that are the most aligned with the values and goals that the community has identified. So in terms of timeline, as I mentioned, the vision document will be released in the spring, RFP will go out in the summer, and then this will eventually go through a ULURP, or a land use review process. And throughout the whole time, we want to make sure that the Armory, as best as we can, is available to the community for, making sure that lighting is improved around the Armory, that the parking lot area, if is repaved and accessible to the community, whether that's for farmers market in the summer or the spring, but really making sure that folks feel close to the project moving forward.
Thank you,
I don't know,
Fernando.
Nate or Haya, if you have anything else that you want to add to that.
Thank you. And then my
Um,
last question.
No, let's keep going.
My bad. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so these upcoming events, I know there's one on the 16th for like how development projects are financed. Are some of them going to be like available digitally for those who can't physically attend?
Yeah, everything will be, oh, sorry, Fernando, go ahead.
No, yeah, so the event on the 16th on how projects are financed, that will be a virtual event. The workshop is an in-person event, but all of the materials that are shared and used at the workshop on the 18th will be online. So if you aren't able to attend the in-person event or even the online event, you can always go to our website and we update all of the materials, both the materials and the presentation, so you can follow along. And we have our online survey. You can also contact us directly. But we do try to have a kind of hybrid where we do some events in person and doing some virtual events. And if you have a group, you can always reach out to us.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the committee that would like to ask a question? Please raise your hand. Chad, I mean, now I'll open it up to the public. Please use the raise hand function, but Chad, go ahead.
Yes, hi, good evening, Fernando. Thank you for that presentation. Any updates on the condition of how we can decrease the amount of water that's been lodged at the base, at the foundation of the armory? I know there's a lot of water that it's a chore to try to get rid of. I'm just wondering, where are we with that?
Yeah, so we currently, as part of this vision plan process, we have a consultant who is helping us understand the existing conditions of the armory. We hope to have more information about not only the issue, but also how the issue can be resolved. And then eventually when a development group is selected, they will have to do their due diligence to do their own, pay for their own investigations. But, the flooding issue is an issue that, we are trying to understand more at hand, and hopefully in the coming months, we have more information that, that we can shine more light on that issue. Nate, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add to that.
Yeah, I think, so one thing to understand, Chad, is like the building is safe today. Like it's not as if it's structurally unsound. So there's water getting into the building. But like, for instance, it's coming up to the basement at times, but it remains a safe building, a structurally sound building. And as Fernando said, like we're an architectural firm called WXY, has a team of people, including civil engineers, that are doing an assessment of the totality of the building's condition so that we can understand the cost that we would need to put into the building to maintain it at a basic level until a developer comes on board who would need to, as part of their responsibilities, address any conditions. They sort of take the building as is. And so it's important for us to understand its condition so we can hold it till they take it on. And that connects to what Fernando said previously about the financial viability of a future use, right? The building's been vacant. It's in various stages of disrepair. And we need a proposal at the end of this that they're able to demonstrate that they can consider and understand and pay for its renovation so that it becomes a community asset. That's a really important thing that we're going to be considering as we think about in the future.
Yeah, and one more thing that I'll add in terms of the flooding is, one of the big questions we always get is how many sub-levels are in the armory? We honestly do not know. We know that there's at least 3 or 4. I would say 3 safely. Some folks say 2, some folks say 3, some folks say 4. So the flooding issue is really, I would say past level 2. I think more prominent issue is, the remediation, right? Making sure that the asbestos and the lead situation is safe in terms of public access. As Nate mentioned, the flooding has not created any structural issues, as it's really kind of like 3 levels below the armory.
Thank you. I actually thought it was about 11 levels, but I could be wrong. I am
Not 11 that I know of.
right, but I am concerned. I'll tell you why. Not to scare anyone. I'm just worried about the rat population, how it's exploding in many cities across the nation, and I just hope this gets considered so that we are ahead of the curve and not behind the 8 ball. You know.
No, for sure. And one thing that I'll know, an observation is, and this is also not surprising, in the armory, we haven't seen a huge pest issue, and there's no food, there's nothing that attracts pests there at the moment, right? But as we know, when redevelopment does happen, that could become a very strong issue, like we see all across New York City. But definitely things that that our consultant and us are looking into.
Okay, is there anyone else from the public that would like to ask a question? Please raise your hand now. But I know the chat was on fire. But I encourage you guys to not only fill out the survey, attend the workshop. This chat is about to disappear. Like, put your voice to use and put it on paper, because we have EDC here. We hope we can continue to trust you guys to use that to make a sound decision. But thank you. I'm sure you guys are tired of presenting this. This is probably like you said, I saw the numbers earlier, but we appreciate you stopping by our little committee to show some love and an update.
No, thank you for having us. And as I mentioned, sign up for one of our tours. Join us on the 18th for our public workshop. Join us on the 16th to learn about financing projects. Always fun. We also want to make sure that people are learning throughout this process, and take our online survey. So thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you. And Sam from the office of the Councilmember Pierina Sanchez, I would love to connect with your office to discuss your education/youth efforts. So if that's possible, can I get an email? I would love to.
Yeah, I'll direct message you I'll put my email in the chat for everybody and my phone number. And definitely let's connect.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And thank you. We will now move the agenda. I promise not every meeting is this lively, but we have CEC District 10 is actually here. So Maria, are you still with us? Maria Villalobos. We might have lost her. Oh, there she is.
Hi, I'm here. How are you?
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
everyone. So sorry for my tardiness today. So I wanted to just do a brief update in regards of Community Education Council District 10. We had our meeting last Tuesday on the 28th, and we have our next one happening on March 22nd at 6:30. I know I've been sending over the agendas as well as the invitations to you guys, but I'm going to continue to do so. One thing that I do want to point out is that we have the candidates forums, where I know that I mentioned this 2 meetings ago when I was here as well. Community Education Council has elections coming up, and applications that were submitted and they were due on February 23rd. So candidates forum will be happening virtual on March 15 at 6 o'clock. So I'm going to send those flyers over to you so that you guys could distribute them as well. That will be the chance for you to meet all of the candidates and everyone that has submitted their applications. They will be able to answer some questions as well. So I hope that everyone will be able to join and hear in and learn from the new candidates that would most likely be putting together the Community Education Council for the next upcoming term starting in July 1st. Just a few recaps of what happened during the Community Education Council meeting on February 28th, was that we spoke in regards of the merging and the co-location for School 307 and 340. We had a presentation from the Office of District Planning in regards to the rezoning and zoning of the schools. based on the proposal and the merging. We also had a quick recap from the Civic Engagement Commission about how important it is to get involved within your community, how important it is for you to vote and just uplift your voices by joining the NABs, which is the neighborhood advisory boards or the community boards as well. And then we also had a presentation about the Fair Student Funding, which I could also share with you guys about the Fair Student Funding formula that was presented by the working group, and gives you a little bit more in depth about where the funding comes from and what the suggestions are and how this is being distributed to the schools as well. And that's pretty much just a very quick recap of the 3-hour meeting that happened on the night. So thank you so much. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Maria, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Just because I missed it, you mentioned the candidates. Is that for the chair of, can you remind me the title for the candidates of CDC?
Sure. It's called the Candidates Forum, which is going to be all of the members, all of the community members and parents that have put in their application to become a community education council member. That will be taking place on March 15th at 6 o'clock. And I'll share the flyers with you so then you'll have them handy.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Is there anyone from the committee that has any questions for Maria? Anyone from the public, please raise your hand or unmute.
Can you repeat the date?
What date for the Candidates Forum?
Yes.
March 15th, Wednesday, March 15th at 6 o'clock.
Okay, and then that's also you. So you're also sharing that flyer, right?
I'm going to share the flyer for the Candidates Forum, and I'm going to also share the flyer for the calendar and business meeting that will be happening on March 20, what did I say, 22nd, Tuesday.
Awesome. I look forward to receiving that. Please share your email in the chat just in case someone has a follow-up question after the meeting. But thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. Okay, moving the agenda. Next, we have the Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center. Oh. Do we have representatives from the Williamsbridge Oval? Okay, they might not be on. Okay, Coalition for the Homeless. Do we have a rep here from Coalition from the Homeless? Okay, Literacy Inc., Gladys.
Hi, good evening, Community Board 7. It's always great to be in community. I tried to turn on my camera, but it didn't let me. It's okay. It's great to be in community with you guys. Always a pleasure. So 2 important things. The first one, today is Monday, which means tomorrow is Tuesday, which means that for Literacy Inc., we are starting our new workshop series. This is for ages 4 to 5. And on Wednesday, we're having a very special program. It's called Wear Your Crown. It's a reading celebration. We have 2 on that day. It's going to be one at 10 o'clock, one at 4 o'clock. And for those that participate in that event, we actually have a book that's going to be read during the program. And on a personal note, this is one of my last meetings because I'm actually transitioning out of Link. I have a new opportunity, so I am slowly starting to walk away, but I will still remain a VIP, which is a very involved parent, which means that I still get to volunteer with Link. So we do have those volunteer opportunities as well. If you would like more information, you can definitely check it out on linknyc.org, event for our upcoming events, and join us for our career opportunities. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you are all well, and we'll see you soon.
Gladys, thank you so much. Sad to hear that you will be leaving Link, but that does not mean you will be like, either way, first of all, I'm happy for you, but sad to know that you'll be transitioning. Is there anyone from the committee that has any questions? And I see a question in the chat. If you, are you able to see the chat, Gladys?
Hello, yes, had a question in the chat, but I'll ask here. What is the premise for the upcoming program, Wear Your Crown, and what book will be read?
Great. So thank you so much. The upcoming program is regarding self-affirmation. We do want to go ahead and help children hear that little voice, letting them know that they are amazing just the way they are. And if you give me a minute, I can let you know what the book is, because I did forget. We went ahead, and so I'm not on that planning team. So once we go ahead, we move on to our next workshop series or whatever other program we have. But if you give me a moment, I'll put it for you in the chat, and you can check out what it is. I believe it's cheer, because I know in Spanish it says animémonos. So it is cheer, but I'll get you the exact name and title and put it for you in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gladys. Real quick, is there anyone else from the public that may have any questions for Literacy Inc? Okay, that is the last item on our agenda, but we do have an addition. So Jate Daly, do you want to go ahead and share your request?
No. Hello, good evening, everyone. Sorry for being off camera, but it's been a very long day. Yeah, so I am here today. I am a parent at St. Brendan School. For the members of the community that have not heard already, the Archdiocese sent us an email and informed us that St. Brendan is going to be closing at the end of the school year. So a group of concerned parents came together, started a petition. The petition is nearly at 3,500 signatures over the last 2 weeks. And what we're really advocating for at this time, obviously, we want the school to remain open, but at this moment, we're really hoping that the Archdiocese will come and meet with parents, because again, we were informed via email and received no follow-up, and just think that it's important to have a face-to-face conversation. So just wanted to come on to the meeting this evening to ask if there are people that are on the call that are willing to lend their signatures to help our efforts and continuing the petition, and if people have resources or other suggestions on ways that we can continue to advocate for a school that is central to our community to remain open, then we're willing to hear from folks on that end as well. So I will put the link to the petition in the chat, and I'll also put an email to contact, petition organizers and such if people have additional suggestions. But thank you.
Jate, thank you for that. I think that's a very important matter that the community should have, that that back and forth with someone, a representative. So thank you for bringing that up. That's very important. Chad, do you have a question for her?
Not necessarily, but it's related to what she mentioned. I actually wanted to find out if anyone had any additional information that is prompting the closing of these schools.
Can you repeat that? You said you'd like more information.
Hi, Chad. Hi, everyone. This is Sam, Chief of Staff for Councilmember Sanchez. I actually got a courtesy call from the Catholic Archdiocese, and the challenge that they're having, unfortunately, is the same challenge that many of our public schools are facing, which is just an extreme decline in enrollment and just the financial feasibility of keeping these schools open. And so, we had an open and honest conversation, because these are the areas of, so many of our students go to school at, and it's supported learning, and we're keeping our hopes open that they could remain open. But at this point, they're just telling us it's the financial feasibility and the lack of enrollment at the schools. We had a conversation about, if it can't be a Catholic school, can it still be a public school? And so we're having a lot of conversations with the Archdiocese to see what our options are, but that is what we were told.
Sam, thank you for providing some additional context. You are very valued here, so if possible, please try to attend future meetings But I think we have to move we're gonna have to move the agenda forward. If there are any issues, additional questions concerning that, please let me know. Shoot me an email. I'll try to connect the dots. And I actually missed our valued community leader, Brandon, from the Norwood Community Libraries. Brandon, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. My apologies. I didn't know I was on the agenda, but I just want to, I guess, reaffirm with everyone that Norwood Community Library is here for the community here in CUB7. I'm most likely going to table Sunday. I filled the house with books today as well. I'll probably do so again, maybe Thursday or Friday. But if anyone wants to get involved, I'll be tabling at 169 East Gun Hill Road between 1 and 4 this Sunday. That's usually where I table. But if you ever want to reach out to me, it's Norwood Community Library on Instagram, or Norwood Community Library at Gmail, or Norwood BX Books on Twitter. But pleasure seeing you all.
And Brandon, I know you presented at the last meeting, but for those who might not have been there, can you let them know a quick summary of what exactly you do, and also you referenced the house that you refilled the house?
Yeah.
Oh,
certainly. My apologies for not including more information, everyone. So I run a mutual aid book exchange called the Norwood Community Library here in our neighborhood. And basically I get books from other people in the Bronx, other people in New York City, and I give them out for free in the neighborhood. There's a house at 3400 Reservoir Oval East that I put books into. In addition to that, I also table on the weekends, usually about once a week, depending on weather. So that's how you can get free books in this neighborhood. And also you're encouraged to share your books as well.
Thank you, Brandon. I don't know if you can see the chat, but there is
that's that's a lot of books, 2,000 books. I really appreciate that offer. Maybe we could work something out. Let's you send me an email at norwoodcommunitylibrary@gmail.com. But one man with one little storage area, so I can't really take that many books. I clear space as time goes along. But if you like to bring a box of books while I'm tabling, or 2 boxes of books, that would be cool.
Awesome. Yeah, you're getting a lot of love on the chat. Try dropping your email in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in I put my email in the chat. Yeah.
Perfect. And Brandon, how often do you attend like events? Have you ever been asked to a table at maybe like a council person's event, or just any other community event?
I've worked with the Jerome Gunhill bit a little bit. Not so much these days. There was I knew someone, Ariana, there for a while, so she would include me on stuff sometimes. And I've done like the fall festival here. I've helped. I've worked with Ramdat Singh to give out books at PS94 as well. Okay. And yeah, I would yeah, Ramdas Singh.
So you're open to it. You're open to it. All right,
I'm open to it. Yeah, I'm open to it. Sorry, I'm also open to whoever wants to volunteer and get involved. I want to reaffirm, because mutual aid, even though I'm the leader of this in terms of but I'm the most consistent person I know with it. If people want to get involved and also volunteer their time or volunteer their books, it's very open, because I'd like for all of us to have ownership about helping the community. I think we could all agree on that. So yeah, I'm open to what building together, just let me know. We'll have the discussion.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tasha, I see you have your hand up.
I did. I think you answered the question. Youth outdoor sports are going to be opening up soon. And a lot of the organizations are trying to not only develop athletes, but trying to develop student athletes. And I really think that encouraging them to read more would be more helpful. A lot of them individually may not be able to get to a library or to a book distribution event, mostly because they have practices on Saturdays. So I was wondering how likely or how willing would you be to kind of come and bring a book distribution to like a football field, outdoor football field, or a youth event?
Where would it be? Is it the one Oval? The
Yes.
football field Oval?
At Oval.
Yeah, I'm down. I probably couldn't do it all the time because I guess I got sort of secure stuff for their age range. But I'm down like every now and then. Hell yeah. Like, you know. I always put books in the little house right across the street there, that 3400 Reservoir East. So you know, if you guys gave me like a schedule, like again at norwoodcommunitylibrary@gmail.com, like I could, you know, plan out and work with you. Yeah.
Is your contact information in the chat?
It is in the chat. norwoodcommunitylibrary@gmail.com. My name is Brandon Montez.
Okay, I'll go through and see if I can find it. If not, I'll get it from Lourdes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.
Yes, if anyone ever needs an email of someone who a contact information from anyone who presented at our meetings, please also feel free to reach out to me. I'll also place my email in the chat. Does anyone else have any questions for Brandon at the Norwood Community Library? No. Sam, again, I know you mentioned, I saw you mention you guys have extra books in the office. What is there, does your office have like book giveaway efforts?
So this started because we have a little kids corner in the corner of our office because so many parents come in and they got little ones. And so we wanted to make sure that we have an accessible and family friendly office, which is great. And then people were like, oh, you have kid books. Let me bring you everything I have, which is great. And so this all transpired about over the last month, and we're definitely open to doing a book giveaway event. The solution we're seeking is the transportation of the books from our office to the location, because we are a true New York City office and not all of us drive. And so if you have a school, a PTA meeting, anything, like even if something as simple as like we can go to your school and set up a table and give away resources that our office provides along with the books, like happy to team up with anyone interested and do that. And I will drop my email and my phone number in the chat again.
That is amazing. That might even be an event that this committee can contribute to. So let's see what happens after we connect. Okay, everybody, that concludes. I mean, unless anyone has any last second issues, I know just flagging for Heather and Serial. If this was what we spoke about over email, I would refer to hold that until the next meeting. If not, feel free to unmute yourself.
Go ahead, baby.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Heather Guerino, and I am an advocate for our children. I've been an advocate since 1998. The name of my organization is called Crusaders for Children's Rights. So there were two issues that I wanted to address. One of the issues that has been brought to my attention by—
Heather, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. Don't mean to be rude.
Okay.
But I would love to, before we bring it up, I'd love to reach
have a
out
conversation first.
Yeah, let's have a conversation, and I'm gonna, reach out to the office, the powers that be.
Okay.
Invite them over, and then we can take it there.
Okay, fine.
I do not mean to cut you off, but I'm just trying to. This has been a long meeting. We want to keep it a little succinct.
So I'll wait for that one. But one of the other issues that we had discussed on February 9th was the DeWitt Clinton pool. That has been addressed to me. And so I wanted to address it to Community Board 7 because a lot of our young people do not know how to swim.
And let me just jump in because we did have an update earlier this year. I myself met with the assistant principal of DeWitt Clinton High School.
Thank you.
I connected the issue with the council member Eric Dinowitz's office, and I guess there's a mini investigation going on. So we're waiting for updates. I actually just heard back from him earlier today, and there are no updates yet. So we know that that is one of our community's biggest concerns.
Yes.
So trust me, I'm on it, and we're on it. But thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
Okay. Last but not least, Letitia.
Hi, I just had a quick question. Does anyone know what is the educational building that they're building up on 203rd between Valentine and Mashua Parkway? Is where all the houses used to be. So it's right off of 203rd and Valentine, and there's a sign, it'll tell you what they're putting up, and it says education, but it doesn't necessarily say if it's a public school, if it's like a CUNY on the off the concourse type of thing,
It's a charter
is anyone
school.
aware? Oh, it's a charter
charter
school. Okay. All right. And is it geared towards grade school children, like K or pre-K to like a certain grade, or high school?
I believe it's catered to grade school, but we would have the staff contact them because we also in the housing committee wanted to know.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Eric, thank you for the assist. Okay, really last but not least, and I'm gonna have the motion to close. I see Galaxy 812 has their hand up. We cannot hear you.
Now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I had the earphones on to hear you guys. All right. I just want to mention that okay, we're from New York City. We're from New York City Parks Department. When you acknowledged us earlier, we did say acknowledge, but I don't think you.
I'm so sorry. And you are muted again, by the way.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Just wanted to mention that just before you guys close the meeting, that at the end of this month, we'll start opening up for summer camp. I'm currently I work for after school, so we're gonna open up the summer camp at the end of the month. I want to make sure that the community knows. I mean, of course, we'll be reaching out like we always do when we have events, but at the end of the month, everyone should go on the site. It's $500 for a regular day, $575 for extended day, and it's a lottery. So I just want to mention that just to make sure that it gets in there. I'm sorry if I interrupted anything.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry I missed you earlier. I guess I just completely missed it. And can you just?
I'm sorry. My name is. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you were about to answer my question.
I didn't hear your question. I'm sorry.
Your name and who you're representing again?
Okay, my name is Pamela Coleman, and I'm from New York City Parks and Recreations. I currently work at the Williamsbridge Oval. Okay, on Reservoir Oval, and we have summer camp in the summertime. So what I wanted to let the community know is that at the end of the month, they're gonna open up registration for summer camp. You have to go onto our website and get the information. It's New York City Parks and Recreations. And it's a lottery. So it's $500 per child, but that's for a regular day. An extended day is $575. I want to let the community know ahead of time so that they can get ready, so that the people in the community can get the first spots. It's not necessarily so because it is a lottery. So because it's a lottery, you may get picked, you may not, but at least you had the knowledge to go there and register your child for the summer.
Well, I mean, real quick, when do the applications open and close?
What you said, I'm sorry.
When do applications open and close?
Okay, they open at the end of this month. I'm not sure. We don't have a date yet. And that's
Okay.
that's just how it's done. We don't have a date yet. And we normally go out to the community and we reach out to our at-school parents and our members and let them know. You just have to go on the website and check it out, from time to time to make sure. Registration, don't quote me, but I think it's open for a month, if that long. So I think that the community should start looking out for it, towards the end of the month, so that they can have a chance to get their kids in. Some people need, childcare for the summer, and we offer it. So I just wanted to let you guys know. And we've been here from the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting information. I'm glad I had a chance to hear it.
Tasha, I see you have a question.
I do.
Okay.
Hi, how are you? My question, hold on, just bring my face in here. My question is, so it's $500 for a normal day. What does a normal day, what are the hours that you would consider a normal day? And when does the camp actually start? What's the length? Like when does it start and when does the camp season end?
Pamela, you are muted.
Do that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Camp season normally starts like the beginning of July, and it goes for 7 weeks.
Okay.
So 7 weeks after that. Now, a normal day would be from 9 to 5. The extended day would be from 8 to 6. That's why a normal day would be $500. Extended day would be $575.
Okay, and your payment process, is full payment due at time of registration? Is there a payment plan? Is it broken up?
Okay.
What is the payment schedule like?
Okay. Okay, everything is done online, of course, but it's like you can do a payment plan, and they have set up the way you need to pay, the way you can pay it. You do not have to pay anything unless you are picked with the lottery. So you go and you register, you put your information in, and everything, and you wait for them to call you. But they have a valid email that you can check on a regular. It's sort of like summer youth.
Okay.
When the summer youth employment kids go and they apply, they have to check their emails and make sure, because they'll get an email reply. Some of them will get a call, but
Okay. All right.
Did I
thank
answer
you.
your questions?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay.
Pamela, thank you for that. I actually had you higher up on the agenda, so I did not mean to keep you on. Keep
Oh,
you
no.
waiting so long.
No. I actually enjoyed all the information, especially about the armory, because I'm born and raised in the Bronx. So, I've passed that armory so many times, but I never ever seen it open. I never knew anything was going on with it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yes.
to hear that there's a lot of stuff going on with it now.
Sign up for a tour.
I will.
And just to echo AJ, yes, this is the Williamsbridge Oval is a key community asset. There's so many possibilities to do there. So I encourage everyone to check it out. Go on a walk, play some tennis, or check
Yes, we have
out the Buccaneers practicing on the football field.
That's it. We have a lot of programs going on there. Regular programs like every week. We have exercise programs. We have a coaching program. We have dancing programs. We have a lot of different things going on. So it's just come in, check it out, look at our bulletin board. We'll give you a tour. We have a lot of stuff going on. We've improved a lot. As it gets warmer, we'll bring more activities outside, of course, but we still have a lot of activities inside.
And your operating hours, when do you guys close?
We open from 8 to 7:45 Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sundays we're open from 8 to 3:30.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we're open 7 days a week to the public. Yes, we have a fitness room, we have a game room, we have a dance room.
Right?
A
ping pong table?
Oh, yes, we do. And we have a computer room, you
Yeah.
know.
All right, so there you have it. One of our most valued recurring members, the Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center. Last but not least, AJ, you have a question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually went to pre-K there. There used to be a pool there as well. You guys closed all our pools. We have nowhere to swim.
I
And
really
also,
wish,
yeah, if
I
you guys,
really wish they would get a pool back there. That would be awesome.
I was never allowed in there. I was too young and then it was gone. So yeah, I miss it. But also, please don't forget to put Mr. Serio and Miss Heather on the minutes for next month. I was really interested in what she had to say. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good night.
100%. We're working on
Thank you,
that.
AJ.
Thank
We are working on that. Okay, so I am officially going to
Sorry.
motion to close.
I second the motion,
Thank you,
Tasha.
Tasha. Everybody, thank you for a great meeting. Thank you, everyone who joined us, and see you in April.